Welcome to our look at the top 5 social media writing tips. I'm Deb Wenger, and I'm working on this for advancing the story, journalism in a multimedia world. Tip number 1, share news. Now that seems rather obvious, but I can tell you that in my social media feeds, I see a lot of information that might not necessarily be categorized as news. So as a journalist, you want to make sure that you're sharing things that are going to matter to your audience. Story updates are always fertile ground for this type of thing. When you're headed out the door covering the mayor's press conference, let your audience know you're on your way, what's expected, what you hear in the first 10 minutes, etc. If you're going to share a link to reporting that someone else has done, let's say, be sure that you think about adding comments. You want to make this personal. The whole point of social media is to engage. So here's an example. Vadim Lavrusik from Facebook, as you might imagine, is a bit of a master at this. And you'll see here he's sharing a link from Hollywood Reporter and has added his own little personal comment. This adds the social in social media writing. At WJTV in Jackson, Mississippi, you see here we have an example of a post that is rather extensive. It has at least 4 or 5 lines because you have to click through to get more. And this is part of some advice from Kim Wilson of the Social News Desk. Kim Wilson says that Facebook posts of 5 or more lines tend to get significantly more engagement. Another good thing that WJTV did in that example is they added media. You saw the photo. If you had clicked through to read more, you'd see they had also included a link. So things like photos and audio, video, and links add engagement. Research indicates that you may double your comments for a post with a photo on Facebook. You can get up to 2 times as much engagement for a photo on Twitter. Video leads to more shares and retweets in both Facebook and Twitter. Here's an example of that. WFLA TV photojournalist up in their chopper snaps this photo of lightning over Tampa Bay. You'll notice it was retweeted 12 times and favorited 7 times. So did it go viral? No, but that exponential reach of social media means that many more people had an opportunity to see this post, and it's the photo, of course, that drove the sharing. So tip number 3, ask for it. That's why so many journalists love social media, is that ability to interact with audience. So seek opinions on stories that are controversial. Find sources. You need someone that's experienced something, or you need an expert to go with your story. Ask your audience to help you find that content. Sometimes it's totally appropriate to just go and encourage shares and ask for likes. Because this is social, you are actually engaging your audience in a positive way as long as you don't overdo. Here at WPTV, you'll see a story about a bank robbery, photos showing the suspect, and the producers of their social media feed on Facebook say, take a close look and share this photo. How does the audience respond? 190 shares, 108 likes. So just simply asking the audience to help you can make a big difference. Tip number 4, quick quotes. So quotes add interest to any form of media. They make your videos better, they make your text better, and the same holds true for social media writing. So a few best practices. 1, tag the subject of the quote. So if you can add in their Twitter name or their Facebook name, that does a couple of things. 1, it gives credit. And 2, it allows your audience to learn a little bit more about the person being quoted if they desire by just clicking through that link. Obviously, when you're quoting someone anywhere, it's critical that you be accurate. Here's an example. A young woman attending ESPN's Rob King presenting at the Ole Miss New Media Conference, and she quotes him and then tags him. Gets 3 retweets and 1 favorite. It's engaging audience. Finally, tip number 5, hashtag help. So hashtags are a really handy way to categorize content. So it adds some information for your followers so that they know the broad general category if it's a well-known hashtag. but you want to think about how you're using them in a couple of different ways. One, check that hashtag first, make sure it's actually something you want to be associated with. The other thought is to be strategic. Does it make sense if you're creating a hashtag to include the year, if it's something you think you're going to want to come back to year after year? Is it something that's so narrow and specific that it would be very difficult to find, or is it something so broad that it might collect all kinds of irrelevant content? So you really want to think about it. And finally, don't overdo. We've all seen posts that have so many hashtags it's really difficult to figure out what the point of the post was at all. So think about limiting yourself to one or two. Here's a good example of one that hashtag Bring Back Our Girls, which is a really easy way for people to know what the subject matter is. That's been an extremely popular hashtag over the past few months, and so that's a good one to use. Finally, to recap what we've just talked about, when you're writing for social media, be sure you're actually sharing valuable information. Add media whenever possible. It's going to lead to more engagement. Ask questions. Ask people to help you make it social. Quote whenever you can, whenever it makes sense, and use hashtags, albeit sparingly.